Good morning. Welcome back to another Sober Sunrise video. It is Saturday, June 21st. It's 8:23 a.m. I slept in a little bit and then I took my time having my coffee and sitting outside because it's a beautiful morning. And then I came up to the office and got everything ready, but also read something that I wanted to share in addition to the daily reflection, and it's what's in the top right hand side of the screen. So we'll get to that, but let's get to the daily reflection first. So today is called Fear and Faith. It's like there's a theme happening. We talked about faith kind of a lot in the last week, and then yesterday was all about fear. Let's see. The achievement of freedom from fear is a lifetime undertaking, one that can never be wholly completed. When under heavy attack, acute illness, or in other conditions of serious insecurity, we shall all react to this emotion, well or badly, as the case may be. Only the self-deceived will claim perfect freedom from fear. Yeah, that's from As Bill Sees It, page 263. And the writer says, "Fear has caused suffering when I could have had more faith. Fear has caused suffering when I could have had more faith. There are times when fear suddenly tears me apart, just when I'm experiencing feelings of joy, happiness, and a lightness of heart. Faith and faith and a feeling of self-worth toward a higher power helps me endure tragedy and ecstasy. When I choose to give all my fears over to my higher power, I will be free." Damn, this one's hot. Okay, this is fire, as the kids say. And it goes exactly along with the reading in the top right. The reading in the top right is from a calendar on wellness or something like that. So every day, this wellness calendar has a reading, and I stumbled on this today. So I'm wondering if they're connected because they seem to be. Let's just read the one on the top right. "When you suffer, think not on how you can escape suffering, but concentrate your efforts on what kind of inner, moral, and spiritual perfection this suffering requires." This stuff's heavy. It's real heavy for a Saturday morning. But it's important. So let's go back to the daily reflection real quick. Pick it apart. The achievement of freedom from fear is a lifetime undertaking, one that can never be wholly completed. Totally agree. As Chris and I discussed yesterday, you know, I don't even think the Buddhist monks sitting on a mountainside are completely free from fear for their entire life. It's human nature to have fear. It's just a matter of how you react to it and what you do with it, I think, that matters. Do you use it as a compass? If you use it as a compass, what I mean is if you suddenly are afraid of something, to say, okay, I wonder why I'm having this feeling of fear right now. Is it because something I'm doing is guiding me away from my moral, spiritual, true north? Is that a message from like my consciousness to say, hey, your true north is here. You're veering off. So we're going to give you a little sign that says, course correct. Okay? Maybe that's the case. I kind of believe that's one of the benefits of fear. Because if your true north is this way and you start to veer off and the universe tries to course correct you, but you don't listen because you're like, ooh, fear, that's scary. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to think about that. You get farther and farther and farther and farther from what your spiritual and moral true north is. It truly is. Maybe if you don't even understand what that happens to be. So fear is a helpful tool at times. But when we reject fear and say, "Oh man, I'm gonna numb that. I don't want to listen to my fears. I don't want to pay attention to them. Um, I don't want to hear what they have to say because that's hard and it's scary," which it is. When I do those things, I get farther and farther and farther away from my true north. Um, so the achievement of freedom from fear is a lifetime undertaking, one that can never be wholly completed. And it shouldn't be, because fear is a helpful tool. When under heavy attack, acute illness, or in other conditions of serious insecurity, we shall all react to this emotion, whether well or badly, as the case may be. There you go. So we can react well to fear, and say, okay, let me understand that. What's where is this coming from? Or we can react poorly to it and go, no, I don't want it. I'm not listening to it. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and see what happens. Only the self-deceived will claim perfect freedom from fear. You ever meet someone who says, I'm not afraid of anything? That person is lying to themselves and to you. That's probably the person who's got more fears and fear of admitting fear than you do. If you can admit you have fears, you are less fearful than the person who says, I am not afraid of anything. Fear doesn't run my life. Fear isn't a thing for me, right? That is total BS. There's no other way to say it. If you are listening to this and you say, I'm not afraid of anything, you are lying to yourself. Just my belief. Fear has caused suffering when I could have had more faith. Fear has caused suffering when I could have had more faith. Yeah, I mean, like I've said, I struggle with faith for almost my entire life. Now my faith lies in the knowledge that we're all connected. This version of life that we are experiencing is not all there is, and I don't have anything to be afraid of in terms of death and what's going to happen. So that's where my faith is. So fear has caused suffering when I could have had more faith. Absolutely. So if I had had that faith, the faith that I have now, if I had had it my whole life, my life would be very different. I don't know if it'd be better. It probably would be better. But I don't know. Fear has caused suffering, and if I had had that faith, maybe that suffering would have been mitigated. Maybe it would have been eliminated, or it would have, maybe it wouldn't have manifested at all. I don't know. There are times when fear suddenly tears me apart, just when I'm experiencing feelings of joy, happiness, and a lightness of heart. Yeah. So a lot of people say, and I've heard it many, many times, that their relapse happened when things were going good. Everything was going great. And they don't understand why the relapse happened at that time, because it wasn't like they were going through anything hard. They were doing really good. And they decided to celebrate, so to speak, or they decided that they could have one little drink or one little whatever, and it was going to be fine because they'd had success in sobriety. Their life had turned around. They were experiencing the joys and the peace and the serenity of a new life, and they felt like celebrating. So they went back to the poison and the damaging substances that caused all their pain, or at least were the surface level symptoms of their pain from the very beginning. That doesn't make any sense, but it happens all the time. And this sentence would indicate, or at least elicit the idea, that there is an underlying sense of this can't last, right? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Everything's going good. I'm afraid that at some point the rug's going to get pulled out from under me, and all that fear and pain and sadness and grief and all those other emotions are going to come back. And I'm afraid of that happening, even if I'm not consciously aware of it. And so I'm going to sort of preempt that, and I'm going to control the situation by creating my own destruction instead of waiting for something else to happen to me when I'm not ready for it. So I don't think anyone consciously thinks, oh, everything's going so good, I should tear it all down real quick so that I'm, in control of the situation. I don't think that's what happens, but I do think that that's what happens subconsciously. It happens all the time. And it doesn't have to be just for addicts and alcoholics. It happens in relationships that have nothing to do with being an addict or an alcoholic. Everything's going great in your relationship, but you have trauma of abandonment in your history, so you self-sabotage the relationship. You do something, you cheat, or you do something to elicit a reaction from your partner, and the relationship ends and you controlled it. It happens all the time. It all comes from a place of fear. Fear that we are out of control. We're afraid that our happiness is going to be taken away from us. And rather than let that happen, we want to control it. And damn it, if the happiness is going to get taken away eventually, which we're, conditioned to believe, I'm going to just take it away now. I'm just going to self-sabotage it. That way I can control it. There are times when fear suddenly tears me apart, just when I'm experiencing feelings of joy, happiness, and a lightness of heart. That's exactly what these scenarios, that's what happens underneath the surface. Faith and a feeling of self-worth toward a higher power helps me endure tragedy and ecstasy. Giving up control to your higher power and saying, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can't control it. And that's all right, because that's the way it's meant to be. I can't control what that person's going to do, how my partner's going to be in 5 years, whatever. I can't control it, and I'm okay with that. That is hard to achieve. A feeling of self-worth toward a higher power. I know that I'm confident in my self-worth today, much more so than I was 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. I understand what my higher power is. I understand that I don't have anything to be afraid of because there's a universe built on the energy of love and joy and gratitude surrounding me all the time. And there are human experiences happening that challenge my ability to see that, but if I look hard enough, I still see it. So that feeling helps me endure tragedy and ecstasy. So when things are going bad, which I've said I haven't been truly tested yet, I've had challenges, but not anything life-shattering. But when that day eventually comes, which it will, that vision of my higher power and the universe as a whole, that is built with energy of love and gratitude, I know that any tragedy that I endure is something I can handle. I can deal with it. It's a human experience that I know I can deal with. And the other side of it, any ecstasy that I experience, I'm not afraid that this feeling of euphoria and ecstasy, or everything's going really good for me, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Like that thought isn't really something that I have anymore, because I know I can't control whatever is gonna happen. Whatever's gonna happen, I have no control over. So why dedicate my thoughts and my energy toward catastrophizing a scenario that hasn't even happened yet, like Chris and I talked about in yesterday's video. When I choose to give all my fears over to my higher power, I will be free. Yes. I'm working on that. I'm really, truly working on giving all my fears back to the higher power, back to the universe, and saying, well, let me say it this way. When I experience fear, I try to remember to take a moment to understand what the message is. I'm afraid of... I can't even think of a good example right now. Let's just say we'll use, like the example from yesterday's conversation with Chris. I'm afraid that if I lose my job, I'll lose my job, I'll lose my relationship, I'll lose my home, I'll be homeless again, and I'll go back to using and drinking, and I'll die alone, a homeless, poor, sad person. That's a really catastrophic path to follow from simply something like, oh, I got laid off. The company is not having a good quarter and they had to lay me off. Straight to, I'm going to die alone, homeless, and all those terrible things. So when I experience fear now, I go, okay, why am I afraid of losing my job, really? And then try to get to the bottom of well, what is my job right now? Right now, I have a job where I do this, this, and this. Maybe the fear is being given to me to think about if that job is really what I want to have anyway. Do I really want this job? Is this the career I want? Is this the way that I want my life to go? Right? And taking the time to try to understand the fear rather than go, A happens, B happens, C happens, D happens, E happens, and all the way down the line, in a blink of an eye, I'm a homeless person dying alone in a gutter, It's wild how quickly that can happen from one little thought. So reframing the message of fear and going, maybe this isn't what I think it is. Maybe it's a message that I should think about. Is giving my fear to my higher power. Right? Giving my fear back and saying, okay, I got it. I received that fear. Now I'm going to think about it and I'm going to give it back to you because I can't control what's going to happen anyway. I'm going to give that back to you with these new thoughts and these new, this new energy that I've created from this process. And when I am able to do that with all my fears, then I will be free. When I choose to give all my fears over to my higher power, I will be free. Because I don't have to hold the fear anymore. I accept it, I acknowledge it, I give it space, and then I give it back. So when fear comes knocking at my door, I don't hide behind the curtains and turn off the lights, right? I open the door and I say, oh, hi. Why are you here? And then I think about it and have the conversation, and then I can say, okay, thank you for coming. I've got the message. You can go now. And it's not easy, but it's much more... there's a much more peace in that than hiding behind the curtains and hoping they don't knock again, who hasn't had the knock at the door and been like, oh God, who's that? I'm not expecting anyone right now. Who could that be? Fear. That's fear knocking, and that's fear that you're experiencing at the same time. What do you do with it? All right, I want to get over to the top right part. Again, this is from, what is this from? This is from, I don't remember. It's called the Calendar of Knowledge something. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll mention it in the comments or tomorrow's video. But the thought of the day for June 21st is when you suffer, think not, well, it says think not on how you can escape. Maybe I typed it. No, I didn't type it. I copied and pasted it. When you suffer, think not on how you can escape suffering, but concentrate your efforts on what kind of inner moral and spiritual perfection this suffering requires. That's basically what I just mentioned. When you're suffering, when you're afraid, when you're experiencing fear, don't focus on how you can escape it. Focus on how you can use it. What can you gain from it? What can you learn from it? What is it telling you about your moral and spiritual direction? Are you on the right path? Are you veering off course? Have you completely gone the wrong way? Listen to yourself and trust your instincts, trust your gut, trust your intuition. If you are thinking about a scenario that's happening in your life and it's like, this doesn't feel right, trust that feeling. Okay, trust it. Big changes are very hard to make. But every day that goes by, when you know I'm on the wrong path, but I'm afraid of changing paths because it's hard. People will judge me. People will think I'm crazy. I have inner dialogue that says you'll never be able to, you're not smart enough, you're not whatever enough, right? We have all these reasons not to make big changes, even though we feel it deep down that change is the right change to make. There are so many hurdles to get over that we're like, nah, I'm just gonna keep going this way because that's the easy route. It's the path of least resistance. But in the end, I mean like in the end, you are going to regret not taking that opportunity to trust your gut and to follow your heart and to follow whatever it is you want to follow because you know that is what is right for you. It will be hard to make big changes. It is hard to make big changes, but it is worth it. And it takes a lot of sacrifice. You might not be able to do something that you're used to doing as much as you're used to doing it because you have to dedicate extra time to making this big change. But every day you spend giving that change the time it needs, the end of the day, you'll feel good about it. I promise. I'm currently going through something like that now. Yeah. So it's hard. But what I've done is I've said, okay, I have a lot of work to do to get this going. It's a business idea. It's actually a 5-legged business idea. 5 different columns, all supporting one basic idea, right? And I know that I can't start at the top and work my way down. I've got to pick one column, start at the bottom of that column, and work my way up through that. And when I get that column built, then I can move over to this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and so on. So every day for the last few days, I've been saying, what is one small thing I can do to get started on this first column? And the other day, it was literally going into an email account that I haven't checked in over a year and spending 30 minutes getting all the junk mail deleted, having no more unread email, and that was all I did that day. Yesterday, what did I do yesterday? I went and logged back into a couple of websites that I have not logged into for a long time. I had to reset passwords. I had to go do the 2-step verification on a bunch of stuff. It was tedious. It was annoying, but I did it. I've been putting it off. Now it's done. That momentum is going to build, and every single time I do that, the list of things that I have to do for that first column gets smaller and smaller. Big changes take time, but they're worth it. You're worth it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends who need to hear something like this. And leave a comment below if you have thoughts on anything that I've said or shared. That's all I've got for today. Have a beautiful day. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, you are enough. You are worth it. You can do it. Take one small step today. Take one small step tomorrow. And the momentum will build. Don't hide from your fears. Try to understand them better. And yeah. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.